So welcome back everyone. Right, let's work on our columns now for our wheels. We're going to bring it in first and then I'm going to tell you why we're doing it the way we're doing it. So let's press Shift A and we'll bring in our cylinder. At the moment I'm set on 15. I'm going to put that up to something like 22. And that's going to give us a nice round edge there. And again, when you bring this in, always test it out. So right click, shade smooth, come over to this triangle and click auto smooth, and you can see that's pretty roundish. That's kind of nice. And now I've got this in here. Now I just need to turn this cylinder around. So RX90, let's turn it round, and then we're going to make it much smaller, of course. Now I want my cylinder to basically fit in the center of these wheels, right in the center. It doesn't want to be out. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to grab my main catapult. So left click, tab button, come to face select, select this face and this face, the inner sides. Press Shift S, cursor to selected, and that's going to put the cursor bang in the center of this and this. And then I know that my wheels are also in the center of this as well. So now I can grab my cylinder. And cylinders, when they first come in, the origin will be set exactly to the center. If not though, right click, set origin to geometry, and now we can press Shift S and selection to cursor keep offset, and that's going to put that cylinder right where we want it. And we're going to actually pull it left and right to make sure it's fitting in the middle as well. So now let's make it bigger. So S and Y, and let's just pull this out to where we want it. And we can see that it's not in the center of this at the moment, and we need it in there. So we'll work on that in a minute. First thing we need to do though is we can see that it's too big on the bottom and top, so it's far too big. So let's make it a bit smaller. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to put some metal over the top and the bottom to support the wood, because at the moment this piece of wood, the way that it would be is it'd be very weak around here with a big gaping hole in it. So we need to work on that. So we'll do that in a minute. Now first thing is I want to make this the right size, so I do need it poking out. So I'll press SY and I'm just going to poke it out as far as I actually want it, and I think that'll be about right for the size of it poking out at the moment. So now let's put this in the center. So how do we do that? We're going to click on the wheels, press tab, come to our vert button, and now we'll go in and select all these verts going around. So select a vert, Alt Shift click, and let's do the same on the other side, Alt Shift click, and now we're going to press Shift S and cursor to selected. Now that's going to put that bang now in the middle. Now we'll press tab, grab our cylinder once more, Shift S and selection to cursor, and that's going to put it right in the middle of our wheels, exactly where we want it. And we're going to do the same with the back as well. But first of all, let's now work on our cylinder. So what we'll do is, to make this realistic, is first of all we will make holes in our catapult here. So what I'll do is I will go over, this says cylinder at the moment, and I want this to be this size, and I want the actual ones to be slightly smaller than this, as you'll see what I'm going to do in a minute. So first thing I'll do is I'll press Shift D, and that will give us another cylinder exactly the same size. Now I'm going to hide that one, and I'm going to click on our original cylinder. I'm going to come across, double click it, and let's call it Boolean, like so. Now what I want to do is I want to put this on the back of here as well to fit in. So what I need to do is Shift D, and I'm going to bring that over, and now I need this one to fit in the center of this. So exactly the same thing as we did before. Click on the wheel, tab, go up to vert select, select one of the verts, Alt Shift click, and let's do the same on the other side. And now we've got both of those highlighted. So if I press Shift S now, cursor to selected, it's going to put it bang in the middle there. And now I just need to select my cylinder. So tab, select this cylinder here, press Shift S, cursor to selection to cursor keep offset. And that's going to put it right in the middle of those as well. And now all we need to do is we need to join this cylinder and this cylinder together. So Ctrl J, come up to the name of it. It's called cylinder at the moment. Let's change that and we'll call it Boolean. And now we're going to use these to put a hole in these parts of the mesh of our catapult. So I need to grab my catapult first, come over to the little spanner, click Add Modifier, come down to where it says Boolean, and the last thing I want to do, so we don't forget, is select these two booleans again, press Ctrl A, and we're going to hit rotation and scale just to make sure they're correct. And the other thing, we'll just make sure that the boolean works correct. We'll right click and set origin to geometry. And now I think we're ready to click on our catapult once more. We've already got the modifier put on, and we just need an object now. So we're going to click on object, click boolean, and then click apply. And now if I grab these, press delete, you'll see that we've got some nice holes there. And now what we need to do is we need to bring our cylinder back. So let's bring this in. So click on cylinder, Alt H, and now you'll see you've got this cylinder where you need it. Now lastly, all I want to do now is I need to make it slightly smaller, because then you can see that there is a gap where there needs to be a gap, and also because of gravity this would be pulled down just a slight bit. So first thing I'll do is I'll make it slightly smaller, like so. And now you can see that we've lost the width on it, so let's bring it out once more. So S, Y to where we want it, and I think something like that's going to be quite nice. What I mean by that is now you can see there's actually a gap in here and that it looks realistic. So let's first of all hide this cylinder. We're going to hide these wheels. We're going to now click on our main catapult. We're going to actually delete one of these sides at the moment. So let's go up to the vert select, select this one over here actually. Press the L button, press delete, and delete vertices. I'll delete that all the way. And now we can just mend this one, mirror it on the other side. So let's grab this all again. L, P, selection, tab, click, tab once more, and now we're left with this. So let's go in. I'm going to select these faces here, press delete, and faces. And now we're left with something like this. And now we can actually fix this mesh to make sure that it's a perfect mesh. So first thing we'll do is we'll press Ctrl R. You'll see you'll get a loop cut in here. If you scroll your mouse in, you can see now we're adding more edge loops. And what we want to do is we want to add enough edge loops to make sure that we're able to put mesh from each one of these up to the top and up to the bottom. So I'm actually going to do this with the number pad to make sure that they're both the same. So press Ctrl R once more, and let's try 15 and have a look what that looks like. Maybe that's not enough, so I'm going to right click again, Ctrl R, 20, and I think that's going to be enough there. So I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to do the same at the bottom. So Ctrl R, 20, left click, right click. Now obviously there's far too many loop cuts in here for what we need. We don't actually need that many. And now we can start joining this up. So if I go into my first cylinder, and for instance I want to grab, so I'm going to grab all these around here. So Alt Shift click, press the C button and middle mouse button, and then you can take them away like so. So then we've got half the cylinder selected. And now I can come in and I can select my top parts. So let's grab these. And then I can right click and I can bridge edge loops. And you will get something like this, which at the moment looks kind of a mess. So now I'll select the bottom parts, the ones where I want. And unfortunately I'm going to have to shift click each one of these, because if I alt shift click it's going to go all the way around and it's going to make it actually take longer than it needs to. So I'm just going to select all these, right click and bridge edge loops again, and then we end up with something like that. And now let's join these up. So select each one of these, F, and we'll do these two first. So these two here, F, and now we've got these. Now I don't actually think that we need this one in the middle, so I'm going to select both of these, delete, dissolve edges, and now let's work on the next part. And I'm thinking that perhaps we only need to start from here. This one seems a little bit far away, so let's see what they're like if I select, let's say, these. So I'm wondering, not that one. So I'm just looking at the range of how far the mesh will go. So from here to here looks about right. And now I'll do is I'll press Alt Shift click, and I'll go in with C button once more, and I'll unhighlight those, and now I can right click, Bridge Edge Loops, and you can see that if I'd done them to here, perhaps they would have been a bit long. So now I'll do exactly the same from here, and matching up with the bottom of here, which is this one. And then let's go in and let's grab these like this, right click, Bridge Edge Loops, and now let's join this up. And once we've got this joined up, we just have to do the other side, and then we can mirror it over and make everything very easy for ourselves. So now let's delete these two edges, we don't need those, and now we can join this up. So F, like so, and we don't need this edge here again, and this edge here, we don't need those, so delete, dissolve edges, and now let's join this up with the F button, and that leaves us like that. And you can see at the moment it looks a bit of a mess, and that's only because we've not yet used shading on it, and you'll see it'll turn out very nice when we've got our shading on. So now let's do the back of it. So we'll do exactly the same thing as what we did, and I'm thinking to make this easier on myself, now I've got my where it's actually going to go. I'm going to click on the top of here, bottom of here, press the F button, and now I've basically got them divided up. So now I'll press, first of all I'll do the cylinder, so Alt Shift click, and I want them going halfway, which is here, so C, middle mouse button, and now I can Alt Shift the top one, so Alt Shift click, and it'll click them all the way around. I knew that. I just have to basically take off now all these. I can go underneath, C button again, take off these. So basically I've got just this top here I want, and bring the C button all the way down with the middle mouse, right click, Bridge Edge Loops. Now let's do the same for the bottom. Just going to grab these up to there, and let's grab these as well. I'm just going to click them individually again, right click, Bridge Edge Loops, like so. Now let's finally join this up and this up. And doing this is a bit tedious, but you learn the best practice of doing something. This is what's done in the industry. You would never leave a mesh just with a hole in like that. Just it's not something that would be done. So Alt Shift click. Not to mention, in the industry, it would be sent through to a different department. So maybe it would go through texturing department, or it would go to someone that's going to animate it. And if they get a mesh where it's just left like that, it just looks lazy, and it doesn't look very good or very professional. So right click, Bridge Edge Loops, and now we'll do the bottom. Okay, and let's grab these now. Like so. Oops. And now right click, Bridge Edge Loops, and the final hurdle. So F, and now I'll join Alt Shift click, F, and let's look at that. So tab, and finally now, before we shade it smooth, what we'll do is we'll mark some edge loops out just to make sure that it makes it easier for us. So when we're looking at this, we know that the bottom of here, this part here, is basically made of metal, and the rest of it is made of wood. So we can split this up. So if we press tab, again, make sure you're on vert select, Alt Shift click this side, and let's go down and select all these. And we're doing this now as well, because if we're mirroring it, we might as well have the edge loops already done for us. So Control E, mark scene. Now this part's going to be wood, but we will need a seam marking at least on one of these points, so that when we unwrap this, it's going to unwrap flat in 4 pieces. So we'll mark first of all on face, we'll mark this face, all of it, mark seam. That means that'll unwrap as one piece, and then we'll come down and we'll mark it on the inside where the least place it will be likely to be seen. Control E and mark seam. And now finally we just need to mark this metal piece out. Now at the moment I'm not sure if this metal piece will open correctly if I just mark one seam, but I think it's not a big deal if we have to go in and mark a few more seams on this. So we'll mark a seam at the moment, so in this corner, going all the way down to the bottom and back in this corner again. Control E, mark seam. And the reason I marked it there is it's the least place people are actually going to see where there's a seam marked. And now we've got all that one marked. Now we just need to mark these pieces of wood. Now wood's quite easy to actually mark seams on, and the reason for that is that you have wood grain, and wood grain makes it much easier rather than metal, because wood actually has a split down it where you have grain going this way, grain going this way, but there's actually a split down it, so it makes it very nice and easy. Let's press tab a minute and move my man out. Press tab, click on the this part again, and I've noticed I've got a seam here, and I don't know why that was there. Maybe I had it selected, so I'll just take that away. So Control E, clear seam, and I'll do the back of it. So Control E, mark seam, and now I just need to mark this seam going over here. So click on this one, Alt Shift click, which won't work because if there's a triangle you cannot Alt and Shift click things. So let's go and do it the hard way. So like that, Control E, mark seam. Okay, let's do the other side now. So click on this. And going all the way over. Like so, Control E, and where is it? Mark seam. And now we just need to do the bottom of it. Now the bottom of it we can do, I'll show you the other way to do it. So if we come to our face select, press the C button, zoom it in a little, pull it all the way over like this, press Control E, right click, press Control E, mark seam. You'll see that we've gone marked here, but we've also gone marked down here. So let's make it easy on ourselves. Go to vert select and select this vert here, press the C button, and then just go down and grab all the verts just on the inside. Do not grab them on the outside. Right click and now press Control E, clear seam, and double tap the A button. Now you'll see we've got seams marked, very easy. So now we can see that our piece of wood, we've got a block here, a block here, a block underneath, and a block at the side, which is exactly what we need. And now let's mark our seams on the inside of these holes here. If we don't do that, then we won't be able to unwrap these parts correctly. So again, this is all pretty tedious, but if you want your catapult to look professional, then this is the best way of going about it. And also if you want it for, let's say, a portfolio piece or something like that where you have to show the mesh, you want to be showing that it's a nice clean mesh. So Control E, mark seam, click on the top where no one can see it, Control E, mark seam. And now just the same for this one here. So let's go all the way around. Like so. And just make sure we've grabbed them all. And I'm going to mark the top of it already. And let's just do this side now. And Control E, finally mark seam. Phew, that's that part done. So let's press tab now. With this highlighted, let's come over to shade smooth. So right click, shade smooth, come over to our little spanner, auto smooth, and you'll see straight away that's looking really clean mesh now. You can see that it's smoothed out in the middle of it, and all this, although the mesh is like this, It's all smoothed out very nicely, and the light will come off it really nice. Not only that, when you put it into a games engine, it'll be correct and you won't have any issues with it. So finally, let's make sure our origin is in the center. So now we've done the mesh though as well, what we need to do is Control A, rotation and scale, Shift S, cursor to world origin, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. Now come over to your little spanner, add modifier, mirror, take off the X, put on the Y, and then you'll see we've got it exactly as we want it. Now if we press Alt H, we'll bring everything back in, and you'll see now that this is fitting in pretty nice. And all we need to do though is we do need to lower our wheels down a slight bit, because gravity would pull this piece of wood just slightly lower. So let's first of all grab our cylinder, so Shift D, bring it over, and we just want to make sure that it's fitting in correctly. So let's have a look. Might want to come there. Now we can put this exactly in the middle, but for now I just want to leave it like that, because we're actually going to do some work on these pieces of wood. All I want to do is I just want to grab now the wheels and the cylinders and just pull them down just very slightly, like so, just so this piece of wood is sat on the bottom of there. So I can see that maybe it needs to go up a little bit more. There, I can see where it goes through, so round about there, and that's looking much more realistic. So now I need to again press 1, and I need to look whereabouts these are, and I can see that the whole thing needs lifting up just a little bit. So I'll shift click on the main part, and I just want to make sure everything's selected. Press 1, and now I'm just going to bring the whole thing up just a tiny bit, like that. And now we can actually go in and just make sure everything's correct, and we can actually delete this cylinder here, because we're just going to bring this cylinder over when we've actually fixed it and making sure that it looks right. And also, not only that, this cylinder, if we press tab, is again got the polygon on the front of it, which is not correct. So maybe as well that we might want to make this a little bit bigger on this end. So we're going to look at that on the next lesson. So on the next lesson, like I said, that's what we're going to do. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye bye.